All right, good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Who wants to know? You're all good.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, you guys. It is DES 114. We're here, first lecture of this week. Good morning. Everybody's doing well. Hopefully, looking forward to a really nice week, especially this coming weekend. Relaxing and eating lots of turkey. So we're going to get the first lecture wrapped up today. Tomorrow we have a multi-session. I'm not sure if you guys checked that out yet, but multi-sessions are pretty much up to you guys. They're not mandatory. It's just a chance for you guys to come in if you need extra help. I'm here for those 2 hours. All right, so welcome everybody. I'm going to do just a quick intro here. We'll talk about a few things spring cleaning wise, and then we were a little housekeeping, and then we'll go forward here. So just welcoming you guys. I'll give you my intro here real quick, and then we'll go over the basics. So we'll go over some announcements, just take a look at some things to keep in mind within this course in order to gain as much as you can from this course. We'll talk about a little bit of a brief overview of the color wheel, which we'll be doing in this class for your first assignment. And then we'll go right into the other color schemes and your assessment, which is, I think you guys will have fun with it. We'll go over that today as well. All right, just a little bit about me. My name is April Biss. You can just call me by my first name. I have been teaching for over 7 years. It is a project, yep. And I'm originally from Pittsburgh, PA, but I have not lived here all my life. I've pretty much, the beginning of my, whenever I went to high school, I've been living in Pittsburgh, but then as soon as I got out of college, I kind of lived in other states. I lived in Akron, Ohio, and then I moved to Tampa, Florida. So I've had experience working in the field in graphic design. I've worked for several ad agencies and publication companies. I also have my own freelance business as well. I pretty much am more on the teaching side now, but I just finished up a cover for a book. So I do definitely do some freelance. I try to balance that, the teaching and the practicing out. Yeah, people are like, oh, when's your birthday? No, it's not in April. So yeah, it's a long story. But yeah, people always make fun of me and oh, thank you. Yeah, so just a couple of things. I went to La Roche College, a private college in Pittsburgh for my undergrad. And that was basically on ground. So that was 4 years on ground. And I took about a 10-year, I didn't say, I guess a 10-year break, but I worked in the field during those 10 years before going back to school for my master's. And I went to Savannah College of Art and Design. They're one of the top 10 design schools in the country. So I was very proud to say that I am an alumni there. And what I like to tell you guys is I did this, my graduate studies, all online. So I was also a online student like you guys. So it's kind of cool that I know kind of the pros and cons of being an online design student, but hopefully I can relate to you guys in regards to that. So yay. Yeah, so I have about 20 years working in the design industry, and I like to give back to you guys on things that I have learned and my experiences. Easier? What's easier, on ground or online? Geez, I would say my graduate studies were pretty hard just because of they were graduate studies. So I guess at the time, I would say probably my graduate studies online was harder. Easier, I guess it depends on, it's all relative to the your life, what you're going through during that time. At the time when I was an on-ground student, I thought that was the hardest, it was hard for me too, so. But there is definitely pros and cons for both. I have one daughter. She's 5 years old. Her name's Amelia May. That's her middle name. Named her after my, of course, April May. And I have one dog named Santino. And there's my Behance link if you guys want to check out some of the work that I have done in the past. So just going forward, now that I introduced myself, let me see where you guys are currently living. Let's see here. Ooh, question, Gus, can we all get freelance work at your design studio? There you go. Hey, you know, I try to see if any offers come about that I think is appropriate for you guys. You know, I am connected to some of you on Facebook, my professional page, and then also Behance. So you just never know. I might throw some things at you. Benjamin, Ohio. There you go. Indiana, Gus. All right. Michigan. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I got to check that. I've been like, it's been crazy busy with grading and all that.
Yeah, I look forward to chatting with you.
Take a look at that. Louisiana. Okay, cool. Everybody's kind of all around. Awesome. I've only had one, that's 7 years teaching here. I've only had one student that was about 30 minutes away from me here where I live in Pittsburgh. So it's kind of neat to see where everybody's coming from. All right, if I haven't friended you as of yet on Facebook, I have a professional page as well. I'll definitely check in and do that. Central Ohio, okay. Yeah, I lived in Akron for about 6 years, and then I moved from Akron to Tampa, and I lived there for 7 years. Don't ask why I moved back. I'm back in Pittsburgh, but it all kind of happens for a reason, so. All right, just a little FYI, you guys should be already privy to this. I don't like the cold. I don't miss the snow either. Just make sure you guys are getting your assignments in. Just be on a really good routine about this, because you know it's always good to have good habits for you know, in work, not just, you know, as an actual in your work industry. It will kind of carry on into. So having these habits quick, you know, sooner than later is always good. There you go. I'm jealous. Yeah, I just went down to Florida not too long ago just to see some friends. So it's kind of nice to get out of the cold. All right. Also, don't forget about your discussion posts. You know, get those in. Everything kind of adds up. Your discussion, your daily checkpoints as well. It's a chance for you guys to gain some extra credit. Here's my shrimp. Louisiana. All right. So just a couple little house maintenance things here. You guys seem like you're full of coffee today. That's great. Lots of energy I'm feeling from you guys. That's great. Okay. Oh, let's go back here to the home page. Oh, your wife took yours. That's funny. Just an FYI, and I had somebody, I think it was Benjamin, you were asking about the learning multi-session, or not, the learning coach information. Yes. That will be given to me as soon as possible, hopefully in email, and I can post that as soon as possible, but it should be up here. But this is the way I communicate with you guys as well. Don't forget to read through your intro here. And then also I post, you know, resources and other information in the announcements that maybe will be apparent, you know, relative to what we're doing in class. The Thanksgiving, I just posted this too today. This was given to me about the Student Success Center. You know, we are definitely going into the holidays here. So, all right. Another thing to kind of keep in mind too, let me go into live sessions. And you guys logged in here to get here today if you're live. These are just kind of when our days and times are for our live sessions and our multi-sessions. You also have pre-recorded sessions every week. This one is posted in week 1. It's about an hour and 45 minutes. Check that out. And then I will be posting this session underneath here when we are finished today. And that usually takes about 30 minutes once it's uploaded. Okay. So, you know, definitely check this video out this week. Another thing to also, really important, I like to point this out, is your readings and videos. These also have required readings and possible videos that are a nice supportive resource. You know, some of these, obviously you can go in here and say, okay, am I going to really look at all these? A lot of the LinkedIn learning videos that you see in here, so let's go down here. Here's the optional ones. This is what I'm talking about here. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff that is in here. Your optional information in here in your LinkedIn learnings is basically a resource. Say if you're having issues with a certain thing in Illustrator or trying to figure out something about a topic, like creating color themes, for instance. This is somewhere you can go back and say, okay, let me check out this if I think this will help me understand the topic a little bit more. So it's more of a supportive supplemental resource, but there are required videos and readings in here too that will definitely support everything that we're going over this week and every week. So check in there for sure. This is just a little bit about me. So if you want to contact me, I have my iPhone on all the time. I do have office hours during the day. So definitely reach out to me and I will get back to you. It's just where my contact information is and just a little bit about me. Yeah, sometimes, it's everybody's different in terms of how they learn, but those resources are great and they're out there for you guys. All right, so we all kind of know where everything is. I'm not going to go over every single thing in here. I just wanted to show you a few things to kind of make sure you're aware of. Okay, and then in each week here, there is a button on each week number, and this just basically goes over all of your learning objectives. This is everything that you should be walking away from each week and learning. So this week, in week 1, you guys will be differentiating between additive and subtractive color models. You're going to define primary, secondary, and tertiary colors. You're going to define tints, tones, and shades of color. Identify the following color schemes. So we're going to be working with the color wheel. So you guys are going to be showing each of these color schemes: complementary, triadic, analogous, split, complementary, and monochromatic. You're going to identify and apply the correct use of swatches and color libraries, and then also identify basic cultural and emotional associations with specific color scheme usage. Color is one of the most powerful design elements that we can use. It's one of those things where it doesn't have to be verbal. It's kind of ingrained into our culture. We are sometimes color. I think it's like 80%. There was a study that I just read. 80% of consumers make their choices when they buy a product based on color alone. Yes, and it also, creates a mood. There's a whole psychology behind it. Yep. Very powerful for just color to do that to people. And not just that, like if you go into color theory even deeper, which is kind of interesting. I taught many levels of color theory before in the past, and read up on a lot of really interesting health as far as how color can affect our health. There's some really interesting information in regards to that, the more holistic health side. So color really does affect a lot of our daily life, and it's just a very powerful element. So to understand color and how you use it appropriately in your design is super, super important. Okay, so basically, our course objectives we just went over, so we're going to go skip over that. How to succeed in this course? You guys should all know this, right? Communication is key. I know things happen in your life. I have things happen all the time. I'm human. So as long as you're communicating with me, if there's something going on, if you're having an issue, reach out to me as soon as possible. I can be more flexible with you if you open those lines of communication with me, okay? But read the announcements. That's how I speak to you and how I communicate with you. Participate in the discussions each week. That's a no-brainer. Complete assignments on time, daily checkpoints, attend the live sessions. Obviously it's not mandatory, but I always like to say it's like the meat and potatoes behind what we do, because we break down the project for you guys. So if you have any questions, really watch the lecture recording before you start panicking, having a brain block, or sending me questions. I would really like you to listen to the recording or be here live. The salad? Oh, that would be the beginning of, let's see. So the meat and potatoes are the live lectures. So the salad might be what? There you go, daily checkpoints. Or that would be the dessert, right? Because that's extra credit. Discussions. There you go. You guys are funny. See, I'm German, so I'm like meat and potatoes. There you go. All right. So we basically know communication is key, and multi-sessions are here for you guys if you need extra help. There you go. I like it. Sauerkraut. Although I don't like sauerkraut, but to each their own, right? It's good for you, I guess. Netflix. I don't even know what that is. All right. So our live sessions are Monday from 9:30 to 11:30. That's Mountain Time. And then if you want to join, I will be logged in Tuesdays from 9:30 to 11:30. Just pop in. I'll have my computer on, and I'll be logged into Zoom. So if you need any one-on-one tutoring, I will be there. All right, let's talk about the color wheel, right? We're going to get into a little bit of an overview here, and then we'll go right into your assignment, okay? All right, so everybody knows what a color wheel is, right? It's basically a color circle. It's a basic tool for combining colors. We use this to understand what color is all about, how to combine color harmonies. And it was designed by Sir Isaac Newton in 1666. So it's basically designed so that virtually any colors you pick from will look good together. There's been, over the years, variations of this basic design, but the most common version is the 12 colors based on the RYB, or color model. Yeah, that's a long time ago. So think about that. So traditionally, there are a number of color combinations that are considered especially pleasing. These are called color harmonies or color chords, and they consist of two or more colors with a fixed relation in the color wheel. And that's important to know because, you know, when we're designing, we need to know what works well together. So, you know, understanding the colors and how they work is important. So we have primary, secondary, and tertiary. You've heard those terms before. You know, I was just watching Sesame Street with my daughter, and they went over the color wheel and, you know, all of that. So it's kind of ingrained into us when we're younger. But it's nice to get a little refresher here. So in the RYB, or subtractive color model, the primary colors are basically red, yellow, and blue. These cannot be mixed. These are pretty much the colors that are the true colors that you can never really mix to get. But then you have the secondary colors. You have three of them. They're green, orange, and purple. And those are created by mixing two primary colors. And then another 6 tertiary colors are created by mixing primary and secondary. So again, just a little review here. So the primary colors are the roots of every other hue imaginable. So the primary pigments used in the manufacture of paint come from pure source elements of that hue. There are no other pigments blended in to alter that formula. So I like this, think of the 3 primaries as the parents in the family of colors. And then in paint pigments, pure yellow, pure red, and pure blue are the only hues that can't be created by mixing, like I said. All right, when you're talking about printer inks and digital primaries are referred to as yellow, magenta, and cyan. I'm sure you've heard of that as well. All right, so those are the primary colors. Then you have the secondary, and those again are combining any two of the pure primary colors, primary hues, and you can get these new mixtures called secondary colors. So think of these secondaries, of these 3 secondaries, as the children in the family of colors. Okay, so that was the primaries, like the mom and dad, parents, and then the secondary is more like the children. And then you have tertiary, and those are when you mix, again, primary and its nearest secondary on the basic color wheel. You can create 6 new mixtures called tertiary. So think of these 6 tertiary colors as the grandchildren in the family of colors, since their genetic makeup combines a primary and a secondary color. Okay, so that's kind of a neat way to think about it. You also have additive and subtractive color. Additive color, let's talk about this. It basically involves, it's a color system that involves light that's emitted directly from a source before an object reflects the light. So the additive reproduction process mixes various amounts of red, green, and blue light to produce other colors. Combining one of these additive primary colors with another produces the additive secondary color. So you have cyan, magenta, yellow. And when you combine all three, it produces white. Yeah, well, you never know. So additive color, it's important to understand this because, let's see here. When you're talking about, like on screen, for instance, on a screen, when you're talking about additive color, that's basically comprised of tiny little dots. They're too small and close together. We cannot see them basically individually, but we can see the colors formed by the mixture of light. And then when we're talking about monitors, colors often vary from one monitor to another. So if you've ever walked into, like, say, Target or Walmart and you looked at like a television display, you notice all the televisions that are on, they don't all look the same. There's variations of that. And that's basically, they change over time, those colors. And there's no color standard for the phosphors used in manufacturing monitors for the graphic arts industry. So that is kind of a challenge. I worked for an ad agency in Akron, Ohio, and we would have clients that would be really picky about color, which is, understandable. They put a lot of money into, say, a brand mark, that they want that color to look the same within all of their brand pieces. But the thing is, if you don't, there's ways that you can calibrate your monitor, and that means my monitor will look the same as yours if it's calibrated. But you have to kind of rely on that person to calibrate their monitor. So you might have a client, for instance, who's looking at their screen and they see a different shade of color, say if you send a proof off to them electronically. And they may say, oh, well, this looks a little yellow. Is this going to print this way? Well, you just have to kind of, I guess, in a nice way, educate that client that maybe if they're really if they're real concerned about the color, and you'll kind of understand that this might be an issue, say, let's do a color proof. We can send off, the printer can send us off at the final stages of the design. You pay a little extra for that, but the printer can then give you a color proof and you can check the color from there, because it's always not really a good idea to color check on screen. Yes, and you could have people who are colorblind and may not know it. I worked with an illustrator in that ad agency in Akron, and he was colorblind. He would always come over to me and say, can you look at this? I have a client that wants this shade of blue, but I can't see it. So I'd have to help him, and, so it's always good. Some clients they're not as picky, but some are. So, when you're having that issue, always think, okay, let's provide you a printed proof if that's something that you think that's going to be an issue, but just something to think about. So to illustrate additive color, imagine 3 spotlights, 1 red, 1 green, and 1 blue, focused from the back of an ice arena on skaters in an ice show. Where the blue and green spotlights overlap, the color cyan is produced. Where the blue and red spotlights overlap, the color magenta is produced. And where the red and green spotlights overlap, the color yellow is produced. When added together, red, green, and blue lights produce what we perceive as white light. So as mentioned before, television screens and computer monitors are examples of systems that use additive color. Thousands of red, green, and blue phosphor dots make up images of video monitors. The phosphor dots emit light when activated electronically, and it is the combination of different intensities of red, green, and blue phosphor dots that produces all colors on a video monitor. You can see that kind of down below there in that example, those 3 colors coming together. There's also, that was additive color. There's also subtractive color. It's getting a little heavy, huh? So photographs, magazines, and other objects of nature, such as an apple, create color by subtracting or absorbing certain wavelengths of color. Yeah, this gets a little deep here, while reflecting other wavelengths. Yeah, you're good. This is kind of an overview. The phenomenon is called subtractive color. So think of it, subtractive color starts with an object, such as paper or a canvas. And that reflects light and uses colorants, such as pigments or dyes, to subtract portions of the white light illuminating an object to produce other colors. So if an object reflects all the white light back to the viewer, it appears white. If an object absorbs or subtracts all the light illuminating, no light is reflected back to the viewer and appears black. So it is the subtractive process that allows everyday objects around us to show color, for example. So, you know, when we see something like this, for example, this photograph, the subtractive color system involves colorants and reflected light. This is an 1877 color photo, a French pioneer of color photography. You can see the overlapping subtractive yellow, cyan, and red, which is magenta. Image elements can be seen clearly along the edges of the image. Yep. But you can see along those edges, see how there's like a blue, almost like a greenish red. Yeah, that's kind of what's involved there. So color paintings, color photography, and all color printing processes use the subtractive process to reproduce color. In these cases, the reflective substrate in canvas paintings or paper, which would be photographs and prints, which is usually white. All right, so let's go with, we're gonna be showing color schemes for assignment 1, so let's talk about that. So complementary colors, everybody knows what that is, right? They're opposite of each other on the color wheel. So they could be considered red and green, for instance. You could show here. And this is the high contrast of complementary colors. It creates a vibrant look, especially when used at full saturation. This color scheme must be managed well so it's not jarring. And these are very tricky to use in large doses, but work well when you want something to stand out. Yep, purple, and it would be purple and green. They're opposite of each other. Or purple and yellow, sorry, purple and
Dark purple, silly.
dark purple and yellow.
Dark purple. That's what I'm trying to say.
Gotcha.
If
Yep.
you see, yeah, I'm just going by your example, so sorry.
No, you're good, you're good. Yep, you're totally right. So complementary colors are really bad for text. Take a look at this. You're kind of like, whoo. Have you ever seen anything like this before? I'm sure you probably have. It makes, oh, you can't even look at it. I'm gonna turn this because it's like giving me a headache. So you really wanna make sure you're using it appropriately. You don't wanna use it where it's gonna like, you know, not make you wanna read something that needs to be read. All right, so that's complementary. Triad colors are color scheme use colors that are evenly spaced around the color wheel. These can be quite vibrant if you use pale or unsaturated versions of the hues. This triadic harmony, if you're using it successfully, the colors should be carefully balanced. Let one color dominate and use the others for accent colors. So you can see an example here. If you turn this, so you would say you would use, you know, purple, for example, they show purple, orange, and green here. So you would use the purple and orange maybe as the two color schemes for a layout or an ad, and then just pops of green would be sufficient enough. So it's not too over the top. So an accent color is just when you use it sparingly. Analogous colors are colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. And they usually match well and create serene and comfortable designs. They're often found in nature and are harmonious and pleasing to the eye. So make sure you have enough contrast when choosing an analogous color scheme. Choose one color to dominate, a second to support, and the third color along with black, white, or gray as an accent color. That's kind of the more appropriate way to use analogous colors so that they work to their full potential. You also have split complementary colors, and this is a variation of the complementary color scheme. In addition to the base color, it uses two colors adjacent to its complement. It has the same strong visual contrast as the complementary color scheme, but has less tension. So the split complementary color is often a good choice for beginners because it is difficult to mess up. All right, any questions about that? I went over just a lot of.
You just have to go over that when you go over what you're getting ready to go over. Go over that a little more tomorrow. At least help me understand that tomorrow when we have, tomorrow.
Oh, the multi-session?
Yeah, if you could go over that a little bit. So thank you.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so this is a little review because we are going to be creating a color wheel for assignment 1. So it's it's good to know whenever you're using those terms what each of those mean. All right. Do we need a 5-minute break or are you guys ready to keep going? I'm going to let you guys decide. Full power go. Keep going. All right. I like it. Okay. All right. So assignment 1, you guys, I think this is a really fun assignment. You guys have free, complete creative, freedom to do what you want in regards to how you want to do this. But there are some things that you need to do that are within the assignment details, the specifications. Oh, okay. I will keep going then. All right. So you're basically going to be creating a color wheel with the 12 basic primary, secondary, and tertiary colors. Duplicate it 3 times so you have a total of 4 artboards. Be sure to have the color tangent and next to its related color. Feel free to be creative with your color wheel. One of your color wheels visually represent on each of your color wheels, visually represent the following color relationships with lines and or triangles, some type of signifier, doesn't have to be lines or triangles, but you'll have to show a complementary example, a triadic example, analogous, and split. Okay. All right, so let me just quickly go in here real quick into your details of this assignment. So go ahead and read through the background. This is just kind of what we talked about just in review. So I won't bore you with that. The prompt here kind of is exactly what I said, but a little bit more specifications in here. All right, so you will be creating this in Illustrator. Right here is where I'm reading it. And the document size will be 10 inches by 11, and you'll have 4 artboards. Create a color wheel on the first artboard. You can utilize the bright color swatch. I'm going to give you guys a kind of an easy way to create this. And
easy is always good in my end.
Yes.
Easy, but easier
well, I think it's easy. I think it's easier. So yeah.
Well, that's good. I'll definitely come back and watch this when I'm doing that.
Okay. All right. And then we're going to do the blend tool. I'll show you that in a second. And you are going to create basically some type of a 12-step color wheel. So you're going to have to show 12 colors within the color wheel.
And 4 artboards? Ugh, that's a little tight.
Well, each color wheel will be on each artboard, so 1 per artboard.
But you're wanting 12 steps.
12 colors in your color wheel.
I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, so you're going to duplicate each color wheel to other 3 color boards once you're done with that, and I'll show you that in a second. And when you're done, you're going to export your artboards as a multi-page PDF. All right, so let me go in and open up Illustrator. And what you're going to do is you're going to do a File New, and you're going to create a 10-inch over here. 10-inch, make sure it's in inches, by 11. That's what the specs called for. And where it says artboards, we're going to do 4 artboards.
So definitely PPI is definitely inches.
PPI is pixels per inch. That has
yes,
nothing.
I know, but I'm just saying when we do it, it's usually over where you said inches at. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so just make sure it's in inches. Yep.
Just checking.
Yep. Click OK, and then you'll see when you do that, it'll pop up There goes my, sorry about that, my clock's ding and dong in here. All right, so you'll have 4 artboards. Now, I'm going to show you student examples of different variations of color wheels, but I'm going to show you one way that you can also do this, okay? So it's completely up to you of how you want to create this. You do not have to do it this way. You could just do whatever you want. You can do really cool little designs. You can do stars. You could do whatever you want. But I'm going to show you a basic, simple way to start this. So zoom in on your first artboard. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my fill down here to none. So I just have a stroke of black. And I'm going to go ahead and take into my shapes tool, which is right under your pen tool, one of your pen tools. If you hit M on your keyboard, it goes right to it for your rectangle. But if you hit L, it goes to your ellipse tool. And that's what we want. We want the ellipse tool. Now we're going to hold down the shift key before we draw this circle out so that it's proportionate. So go ahead and draw this out. So it's just, you know, like a normal circle, kind of nicely balanced in here, nothing huge. Yep. So you got this simple circle. Okay. Now you're going to do another little circle. So we're going to take the circle ellipse tool again, and we're going to just do a little one. Now this one doesn't have to be a certain size, I think. Let's see here. If I go to info, I'll show you what the size is here. I did about 1.5 inches. But that's not, you know, that's something that you can decide on. It doesn't have to be exactly that size, something just smaller. And what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of plop this right on top here, and we're going to center align it with this circle. So do a select all. If you don't know where select all is on your menu bar, it's right up here on select all, or Command A is the shortcut key. Now what's good to do is make sure it's aligned. So if you don't have your align panel box up on your screen, in your artboard here, go ahead and click window and choose align. With both objects selected, you can go ahead and just center. Mine's already centered because I have, what's neat about this is if you go up to view on your menu bar and you, as if you, let's see, yeah, okay. And you go to smart guides and snap to point, it'll intuitively tell you, watch what happens, that it's centered. It'll give you like those little purple lines to let me know I'm centered. That's kind of a nice way to do it too. Okay. Now, before we do anything else, we need to make this little guy, this little circle here. It almost looks like a snowman almost. We want to make this little circle into a symbol. Reason being is because we need to duplicate this symbol all around this circle. And in order to do that, in the steps that I'm going to give you, you need to create a symbol. So what a symbol is I'm taking like a vector image, and it's going to create a symbol that's, you know, pretty much like a flat file. Okay, so go ahead and go to Window and choose Symbols. Now I'm going to share my whole desktop here so you guys can see my menu bar. If you guys can see my menu bar, there we go. So again, Window.
Menu bar, still can't see menu bar.
And Symbol. You can't see my menu bar?
No, I cannot. All I can see is your color guide, your properties, your layers. It's not even coming down. Like I can't see window or nope, nothing.
Let me see here. Let me share my desktop again. There we go.
That's better. Well, I can see meeting. There we go. That's better.
Okay. You're welcome. Yeah, so sometimes that gets funky and I have to move my artboards around here. Just an FYI, I don't know if you guys know this. If you have like a lot of panel boxes around and it's just getting really disorganized, if you go to the upper right-hand corner where it says Essentials, yours might say something different. Whatever this button is, click on this and you can reset it. And what that does is it just reorganizes your panels to wherever you were when you saved it before. Okay, so if it gets kind of crazy, that's where you could go. Okay, go up to Window again, go to Symbols. And this panel box will open up and this will be your symbol panel box. I'm still using the older version. I haven't updated yet. I'm going to do that over break.
Okay, I was curious because
it should still be the same for the most part.
No, I'm just curious checking because
No, that's good. Yeah, it was I didn't want to run into issues going through. So I'm like, I'll do this during the holiday. Okay. So only select the little guy, right? Not the big guy. We want just to make the little circle guy a symbol. There's two ways you can do this. You can either drag and drop it into this panel, just drag and drop, or with that circle selected, you can hit the upper right-hand corner of the assets panel and say new symbol. There's a couple ways you can do things. You can name this small circle. And then just change your export type. You don't really want a movie, we want a graphic. So it turns it into a graphic. Dynamic symbol's fine. That way we can change it if we want to. Everything else looks good. Click OK. And what you'll notice is the little symbol guy will be in here now. So anytime you wanted to duplicate this guy, you could just click and drag and drop. Now we were only worried about this because we want to just copy this little guy all around here very easily without any issues. So once you have that created, what we're going to do, and everything looks good as far as centered. Here we go. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to select our little symbol here. Now you're going to have to do this with the direct selection tool because it is a symbol now. So the white arrow in here, select it with the white arrow, and then I clicked on the black arrow, but don't just kind of ignore that. Just select it with your direct selection tool. And then you're going to click one time on your rotate tool. Oh, you know what? I have to do a select all. I'm sorry. Before I do that, select all. So go up to here, go select all. Don't do it with your direct selection tool. My apologies. All right, and then go click one time on your rotate tool, one time with both of those selected. And on your keyboard, you have Alt Option key, which is right next to your Command key. You're going to hold that down. With that button held down, you're going to click one time in the center right here. One time. So once you do that, a little rotate box will appear, and it's going to ask you what angle do you want to rotate this at? Well, we're going to say a 30-degree angle. So I already have mine. Yours might say differently, but go ahead and type that in there. You can hit preview just to see it rotate. The big key button that you want to hit at this point, you don't want to click OK. We want to click copy. And the reason being is because we want to copy this action so that we can duplicate it right after. So hit copy, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Hit copy. And now all you need to do at this point, don't hit anything else, don't deselect, do a Command D, and that's a file place. Command D, Command D, Command D, Command D. I'm not doing anything but a Command D right now. And it should copy that same symbol all the way around. And you should have, 12 circles besides the one in the center. So you have your 12-step color wheel right here. Very cool.
Do we need exactly 12 circles for every artboard?
So you'll need, and I'll show you that.
Okay. No, I'm trying to catch up with you and stay with you here, so at least you're not.
No, you're good. That's a great question. Because I copied this like 12 times, I'm going to have to go ahead and delete this. And I'm just using the direct selection tool because I don't want this middle circle, but I have to keep deleting, selecting, deleting because I made 12 copies of it. You can delete that middle circle if you want, keep it really, really simple. So you have this nice 12-step color wheel.
Is the big circle, when we do that, is the big circle, if we use that for every artboard just to get the alignment of everybody set up and then we can do our 12 circles? I mean, with that, that's how I mean, from my understanding, that's what I'm understanding what you're doing here.
Yes, so you can do it this
no, that's cool. No, I'm clicking here with you because we're speaking the same language here, which is that's week one. That's a good thing, April. We got a good thing.
Yes. Good. Any question, let me know. Don't feel, ask me. I'd rather you ask me than, go forward and not know. Now, you don't even have to do it. You could have a star. You have all these neat little shapes in here that you can start out. Do the same thing. Just create a symbol like I did with the circle. I just happen to do the circle. But you can do other shapes. You can design a paintbrush and create a symbol. Okay. And then do exactly what I just did with the rotate tool. So I just want to give you that creative freedom if you want to do something interesting. And I'm going to show you some student examples. They don't have to be abstract symbols. They could be you know, paintbrush, or, you know, you could have a red paintbrush and go all the way around the same thing. And I'll show you what I'm talking about in a second. All right, so any questions about that? That's just how you can create it very quickly so that it's all even. Okay. Now, how do we create the colors, right? We got to have some colors in here. So I think this is the easiest way. I'm going to show you guys. So go ahead and go to your swatches. So go to Windows Swatches. We'll just pull up. And yours, I might have more than you, but it's okay. As long as you have your basic colors, you're good. Now, I think this is an easier way to do this. I'm going to go ahead and go on to this artboard just real quick here. And I'm going to choose just the little rectangle tool. And I'm going to draw out just a little rectangle. It doesn't have to be a specific size. I'm just going to create this little rectangle. And then I'm going to do an alt drag, and I'm going to pull this about this far away, and alt drag is just like a copy. So I'm just kind of centering these. So I have 3 rectangles. And I'll show you exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to go to my align tool and center these so they're good. And then right here. Okay. So basically what these are going to represent are your primary colors. So what's our primary colors? What are they again? Red.
Red, blue, and green.
Yeah, everybody's like, we're awake, but we're not awake. Okay. So we got red, and I'm just picking here from my swatches, red, yellow, and blue, right? Simple, simple, RGB. All right, so now what we're gonna do, I'm gonna show you a really interesting and cool way to blend these together so that it's easy for you guys to come up with your colors for your color wheel. I'm gonna drag and drop these 2 down here because we're gonna have to blend these as well. So I just did an alt drag. Okay, so has anybody ever blended 2 shapes together before?
No.
Okay, so it's really easy. You just select the first. We're going to do the red first and shift select your yellow. So you select these 2. Then we're going to go up to object on your menu bar, and we're going to go to blend. Before we make it, we're going to go to blend options. You will have different options to space these. You can have a smooth color, specified steps to blend these, or specified distance. We want specified steps. And we're going to choose 3. And what that's going to do is going to blend the red to the yellow in 3 steps. Click OK. Now this is the tricky part. When you click OK, it's not going to do anything. You have to do one more step. Go back up to object. This is where it's tricky if you don't remember this step, because you'll be like, why didn't it make it? Go back up to object, go to blend, and choose make. You have to do that extra step. Now look what happens. It creates a blend from the red to the yellow. That blend is exactly what we need to assign the first, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors. Yeah, so we got that. Any questions about that?
No, I'll just have questions when I get into tomorrow, like I told you before.
Okay. All right. So now that we created that, the only thing when you do that, it pulls it as a group. It's connecting as a blend. So before we do the blend from yellow to blue, we need to kind of expand this. So how you would do it, select this. Once you're done creating this blend, go back up to object, go to blend, and hit expand. And what that's going to do is it's going to individually let you expand each of these so you can select them. Now, before you even do anything else, we need to ungroup them. So object ungroup, because they're grouped right now. So now you can group, select each individual one. All right, with that step done, select your yellow, and we're going to shift select blue, and we're going to go back up to object and do the same thing I just showed you. Blend options, specified steps 3, click OK, go back up to object, go to blend, and make. So it's just repeating that. So go back up to object. You can expand this again if you want to release them. It's completely up to you. And then do the same thing with the red and the blue because we need that purple blend, right? So select those two, blend options 3, object. Hopefully after a couple of these repeated demonstrations, you'll kind of get it a little bit more. Blend, make. Expand, ungroup. Okay, so we have all the colors we need to reference. We don't even need this anymore to go back to our color over here. So take your direct selection tool, select the top. Now we always know that this is going to be the red one, right? The top one will be red. So take your eyedropper tool with that direct selected circle and choose the red. We all know that this one, right? We're talking about our primaries here. This should be yellow because it's a triangle, right? So go ahead and take your eyedropper tool, select the yellow that we created all of these other colors from. Same thing over here. This other one should be what? Blue, right? That blue original color. And then what we'll do is we'll just go step by step and select each color that we created over here. See how easy that is?
That does help. Now, the thing is, do you have to do that? Do you have to copy what you just did over here on every board or not?
Yeah, so I'll show you that here in a second.
Okay.
No, you're good. Yep, we'll kind of get into that step part here. Let's see, so that would be dark green. And let's see. I'm going as quick as I can. And we got the purple. This would be, now for this one, it would be the next one over on the left of the blue, right? And then that one closest to red. And then the next one right next to red. Dream of colors, there you go. So you can get rid of these. Once you get this done, you're good. Save it. We are DES114, and this would be assignment 1, first and last name. Okay, so you're gonna save it as an AI file. You probably should save this before we even do all of that, just in case. Okay, so now we have this beautiful, beautiful 12-step color wheel, right? It's beautiful. So what you can do, there's different ways you can do this. And Ben was just asking about this. You can either select all and alt drop this over, alt drag, sorry, or you can kind of do it the smart way, which I showed you how to create artboards. If you go back to your artboards up here in your window and you delete the other 3, now you can drag and drop a copy of that 3 other times so you have all 4 artboards. Okay, you can rearrange these. This is just visually like a preference. If you ever want to reset this visually, you can go rearrange artboards. I'm sorry, artboard options. And you can, oh no, they're rearranged. There we go. Rearrange. You can set these, like if you just want them to go vertically, you can set them vertically. And it's just a preference. That's how I would do it if it's easier to not drag and drop. Okay, so now our specs are, we need to show on each of these examples. So when you first make file, do you need to make 4 artboards if you're copying the first artboard? No, you don't. I was just showing you how to create 4 artboards. So I think it's easier just to start with 1, and then once you're done with the 1, you can copy it like I just showed you. We have to show, let's go back to our instructions here. So we have to show each of these, just one visual example of a complementary color scheme, triadic, analogous, and split. So the first one would be complementary, right? So let's zoom in on that. And what I would do is I would name these down here. So I would actually write complementary. Make it big enough so you can see it in type.
Does it matter what typeface we use? Does it matter?
Nope.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter.
I mean, readable, yeah, but does it matter?
Nope, doesn't matter.
Okay. Good
You
deal.
can have it below, you can have it in between. It's completely up to you. It's up to your design too, because you might have a different design. I'm just doing a real simple one. Let me see here, complementary, and then triadic, analogous. You can even copy these if you're worried about spelling. And then once you get your first word in there.
Are we allowed to lock our layer, like artboard 1 where you went in there? Can we lock it so we don't mess it up
Yeah.
once we get it copied? Okay, because I'm just curious. I'm just making sure there's certain restrictions each assignment's always had, at least up to this point, since whatever till 114 has always had certain restrictions, like you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I'm like,
Yeah, you'll find kind of your rhythm. Like if you want to lie, if that's helpful for you, yes. It's usually like just
guys,
that you know how to do it. But if you feel like, hey, I don't really need to do that, you don't have to. You can lock it if it seems like, if something's getting in the way, you can lock
well,
whatever.
you'll understand what you understand. Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. So that would be triadic. And yeah, there's definitely, it's a little bit more stringent in certain classes. You have a little bit more rules to follow.
Yeah, especially in InDesign, they had us like you can't do this, you can't do that. Like in last week in typeface, you can't add color to this. You got to you're cutting off the freedom.
Yes, there's no creative freedom, right? But I think that's for a reason. So you kind of get into a habit of checking certain things and know how to do certain things. So once
Yeah,
you do, then you'll
like
get into a rhythm here. Okay, I'm going to group my circles just so that I know that these are perfectly centered and aligned here. And what I mean by that, I'm just selecting all of my circles. I'm going to group it and then shift select my name so I can center. I'm just making sure it's perfectly centered because I just threw them in here. Where'd my line tool go? Here we go.
Yeah, I think we'll get along great.
I'm glad. Okay, so once everything looks good, let me center this part. Here we go. Now you have creative freedom. I would suggest don't throw any other color behind here other than a neutral color. What I mean by that, if you want to change this white background, say to black, you can do that.
Okay, because that would look kind of interesting. That looks better with black behind it because it makes it. There's enough contrast in there. Oh, you made a line.
The only suggestion I would say is don't use a color like that.
No.
So keep it neutral. Keep it either like a light gray, white, or
Can we go radiant on that, like gray? Can we make the back like gray? I mean, neutral is as neutral as I'm going to get. Gray or black. I'm just curious.
Yeah, you can make it like a percentage of black. Yep. But I wanted to show you, you have that. I just wouldn't do a color just because it takes away from the color, the actual color wheel. Okay, the next thing is how do you signify what each color scheme looks like? How do you show the viewer what are complementary colors? So you don't have to show them all, just pick out an example. So we can do this. We can create another little white circle or whatever signifier that you want. It doesn't have to be a white circle. It's just what I chose to do. And I'm going to show this by the two signifiers here saying this is a complementary color scheme. And there you go. There I've had students use lines. Now, if you do that, obviously I'd probably move this down below. So it's really kind of depending upon the signifiers that you're going to use. Does that make sense? You can even do like little stars. Like
yeah, I mean the stars. I mean, just keep everything white so you don't screw up your contrast because you've got it perfect right now. If you know what I'm saying, like you got to use your CARP in this thing. Got to keep everything just right. You know what I mean?
Yep. So whatever you think is visually appropriate for your
Okay. That's
design.
cool.
Because you could be really creative on this. I'm being very generic and basic and abstract right now, but you can be very, very creative. Okay. Now I'm not saying that this isn't creative, but it's it's a little bit more conservative. That's all.
Hey, playing safe sometimes works around here.
Yeah. So I'm trying to do. So triadic. So what's triadic? Can anybody give me an
I do
example?
not know what that is yet. I have not learned what that is yet. I have only
Okay,
learned.
so we know complementary is opposite, right?
Yes.
Triadic is what?
Well, if the complementary is opposite, then they're the same almost, or not.
Okay, I would see if
I'm
anybody else.
open for suggestions from the crowd here.
Do you remember when we kind of explained that triadic colors
Yeah.
are?
Always uses okay, like okay, 3 colors.
So they are kind of like a triangle.
Yes,
They're
trad.
kind of like a triangle.
Hence the word trad, right?
Yep. So it would be what? Purple.
Purple.
Here, let's drag an alt drag so we have the same exact size.
That would make sense. Keep it going. Come on, keep
Yep.
it. Okay. Yellow, obviously, because that was with the other one.
Okay, so what kind of yellow though?
Well, the one that was going with the other one, like, let's see. One that would match up well with the yellow. Like, if you did it right, I was going to go yellow. The one next to it over here. Yep, below the blue. Well, that'll work. That'll
Okay,
work.
so it would be these two. It would be the triangle. So you're adding, so you're using one, so for instance, here, let's go back. Okay, so it's a triangle. So you're going to use, if you're doing purple, it would be the opposite of purple. Down here would be green,
Right. Or
orange.
right, if we did red, it would be red, blue, and the yellow, like those three. That's how I would do it if I was doing one. How I would do one, mine, I'm probably going to go red, blue, red, and the yellow, like your brighter yellow over here.
Okay.
That's gonna work, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, and now
I'm just making sure I'm paying attention. I'm just trying to make sure I
you're
understand
good.
what's going on here. Okay, good deal.
You're good. Yep.
Thank you.
All right. What about analogous? Do you remember analogous?
Go back to that, please. I have to read what what text you had for that, please.
It's kind of like a review, right?
Pretty much. Okay. Gray, the bottom three, if you see that one, or you could go with. I close your window for a minute. Go for the one next to the darker pink, the brighter pink. Start with that.
This one?
Yeah, and then go with the red, and then go with the brighter orange. Yep, and then the red, and then the orange.
The three next to each other in the color wheel. Perfect.
That's. It's. I'm probably gonna go with at least circles like what you're doing, but I'm probably gonna try to pick something different than what I told you in here because I'm on mic still. So.
Yeah, you're good. No, you're good. That's perfect. Okay, so I need three colors next to each other on the color wheel as analogous. And then what is, this one might be a little tricky.
Go back, please.
Split complementary. Go back.
Back to that one. Okay. Ooh. Two grays and a red. Two gray, the gray, the darker, the light, the not so dark yellow, and the red.
So you have a base color and then two.
Yeah, my two red, my reds are my base. My red is my base color.
Okay, so you want red.
And then pick where it's going to go. You pick from there. I'll let you decide that.
So that would be the split compound.
Yes, that's what I was. Yes, ma'am.
There you go. So you got them all. So that's it. That's all you have to do besides saving it out as a PDF. You guys.
And then and you want to multi-export that?
Yep. Okay. So you would just do, a save as, and you would save this out as PDF. Oh, not that. That's not all.
No, really, that doesn't sound too hard, does it, Chance? It just takes a little time to figure it out, but I got to get that discussion done because that discussion, I've already started on that. I've already got my thing picked up. I got to get my citation, and then I got to go into Zoom later and get that one done. Then I got to get my other one done, but another class I have 750 words to do. Ugh, I hate words. Yeah.
So here, open up your PDF when you're done. Just make a look. Make sure, like right here, I would have to fix this little white.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, you'd want this, yeah.
But check out your PDF before you send it. And I do have other student examples if you guys want some inspiration here.
No, I'm good. I got my example. I just want to go figure out that assessment because you said it's hard. You said the assessment looks kind of isn't that hard. I'm like, well, we'll see because you can always go back and fix things.
No, you're good.
If we mess up, we get a bad grade. You're always going to let us go back and get critiqued and get resubmitted, right?
Well, it depends. If you have a really, obviously, if you had struggled and you need to, yes. But I always like to say, if I did that for everybody, it would be like, oh, I would have a lot to grade for past.
Right. I understand. I'm just curious because some people do let us go back in there and let us resubmit because, hey, life happens.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes that happens. Okay, so we're all good with that. Nobody has any questions with the assignment, right?
No, all good.
Okay. Before we get into your assessment, I do want to go over your discussion, see if you guys have any issues with that or questions.
No. I've already got a complaint about that discussion with one of the things already. I'm already starting on mine. I'm like, nope, hey, I don't like the color scheme I got for one of them already.
All right.
So when you read it, you'll see it. You'll read it. You'll see it.
Okay. This is about color palettes and meaning. Go ahead and read through this. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to choose from one of the themes above. You are being approached by a client, and it's a theater group, and you're going to be creating a poster. Well, you're not going to be creating a poster, but you're kind of using this theme for a poster for an upcoming fall season. So the first play is a simplified short version of Wizard of Oz that will be performed during the day for children 4 to 12. The second play is a holiday comedy based on How the Grinch Stole Christmas for the entire family. And the third is Dial M for Murder. It's a classic thriller mystery for adults. So the theater director's daughter loves painting and drawing and has came up with a palette of colors for each play. The theater director is so proud and happy about them and asks you what you think. Do they work? Do any of them need to change? If so, why? So you don't necessarily have to agree with this, but go ahead and choose the theme. You're going to choose one of the themes above. If you're not familiar with any of them, obviously you can research. I know Dow M for Murder, I had to research. Talk about the emotions suggested by the color selected. So really talk about how those colors how those colors express a certain emotion and a mood, and how you think whether they work for the specific theme of the play. Okay, don't go for the obvious. Pushing and reaching into people's emotions require a well thought out color scheme. So you can see the example here, choosing red and green for the Grinch who stole Christmas. Well, it says Christmas doesn't instill the mood of the storyline. So there could be kind of things that you may not agree upon, and kind of base it upon facts that what you would suggest. You can even put in your own color scheme in there as an example of what you would say, what you would offer a better color scheme if you think a certain color isn't working or certain colors. I've had students do that too.
I mean, I've already looked up Dial M, and the colors from what they got in there don't even match up. Don't even look to me for like a murder mystery. I'm like, nope.
So if that's something that you want to speak about, that's great.
That's what I'm going to.
Yes. And as long as you're providing supportive, factual information to support your perspective, that's good. Because you know what, if you think about it, you will be in situations when you'll be presented with a client who wants you to do certain things that may not be right for what the project is. And that's just what it is. That'll be something that you'll always have issues with. So what you need to do as a designer is back up the facts of what will work and what may not work, and back those up with factual information. And that's basically what we're doing here. Will it work? Will it not work? If it doesn't work, why doesn't it work? What would you suggest? And don't be subjective about it. Don't say, well, I don't think this red works because, it's not my favorite color and it makes me mad. Say, say why. Back it up with the facts. Red is usually a symbol of blah, 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 and have that actual factual information provided. Using citations to back up your perspective is definitely warranted as well. Any questions about that?
No, but I'm trying to find a picture of the proper the palette from the pictures I've seen from just Googling the Dial M one, and I can't find my palette.
That you created?
No, I'm trying to go find one online that has the palette of it, and it's not happening.
Well, I guess that's something that, if you need to watch the movie or watch a preview, you can kind of come up with that yourself. Just kind of look at that theme and say, is this right for this? Do you believe that is right?
Okay.
You can look at other past ads or whatever on, Google image search too, just to see what you see out there as well. All right, so basically we're just going to be digging in a little bit more about the psychology of color and how that works to visually speak for a specific movie. Okay, no questions. Let's keep going. You guys are great. Okay, so assessment 1, this will be a fun project. This will actually be even more creatively fun for you guys because you guys will be creating, and go ahead and read through the background here. We're going to be applying color schemes to design. Go read through that. I won't bore you with the background information. So for this assessment, have fun creating an abstract geometric composition. So this should be abstract, using just shapes. You can draw circles, squares, triangles, organic shapes, or any combination of them. Employ the principles of design, contrast, repetition, alignment, proximity to ensure sound design choices. Avoid strokes around your shapes. Do not go for something recognizable. The more abstract, the better. Once you have your composition complete, duplicate it to 3 total artboards. Color each composition with the following color schemes. So one will be analogous, one will be complementary, and the other one will be monochromatic. You'll be doing this in Illustrator. You're going to have, the size will be 8 inches by 8 inches with 3 artboards. Again, you will utilize the analogous color scheme for one composition. You may use tints and tones of the colors. Do you guys know what that means? Tints and tones.
Tinting something means, you know how some cars are all tinted, the windows, you can't see anybody, you can't see the person in there.
Oh yeah, the tinted windows.
Right, right. That's what I'm going with, like you can't see somebody behind that window.
Okay, so you know what's funny is when you say tints, you think darker, right?
At least from my understanding, from what I've seen.
When we're talking about color theory in this regards, tints means an added white to a color.
Oh, you're
so
bright.
Lighter, yeah. And tones is when it gets darker.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Adding gray, yeah, adding black to the colors. Yep. So you can say use red, and you can use tints and tones of that. You can either go lighter red or darker red.
All right. All right.
So I know it's kind of confusing. That's why I wanted to.
Well, when I get to that part, I'll probably try to. I gotta get this. This is a lot of work this week. I got to get you'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, well, just, kind of take a deep breath and go one step at a time. I think once you get the color wheel started, it won't be as difficult as you think.
That's not the part. Doing this is going to be a little.
Okay, so you're going to utilize a complementary color scheme for one composition. And then the other one will be monochromatic and then analogous. And you'll save that out just like we showed before. So this is really kind of real simple, I believe, and I'll go over step by step of how I would approach this. So let's do a new artboard, and this one we're going to do 8 inches by 8 inches. And I would, at this point, I would just set this to 1, like we showed before the total artboards, which you can change here. You know how to change that, but I think it's easier to duplicate it in your artboard panel. So I'll just start with 1 artboard for now. Okay. Yes. Yep. Once you go through it, you'll be good. Let's save this as well. Let's go ahead and save this DES114 assessment 1, first last name. Okay. So, right now this is completely up to you. If you want to do stars, you could do stars, you could do lines, you could do shapes. Completely up to you. So let's go ahead and start. I'm going to do something real simple here. And I'm just going to do black and white for now. So, this part, I can tell you that this is going to be completely up to you on how you want to, what kind of design that you want to do. But I'm just going to go ahead and show you how I would attempt this. And then I'll give you kind of suggestions on colors and how to change this. So I'm just changing the size here so I have a nice rhythm. Because you have to talk about the principles of design here. All right, and then, so I can keep it as simple and as basic as this. All right, and that's what I'm going to do for you guys because I don't want to get too confusing.
Too late. You already did by even.
I did.
Too late.
You can see this. Okay. So my suggestion would be, oh, let's space this out a little bit. When you start thinking about the color schemes, I'm going to show you something really cool. It's really, really easy to utilize. All right, so this one would be what? Let's see.
I don't know, whatever you want it to be, because I'm already confused.
Analogous, complementary, monochromatic. So you're going to design something just very abstract. So we're going to do analogous first. Let me paste this in here. Analogous. So this would be analogous. I would definitely do exactly what you did before with having the name with this. So I know, if you have an issue with this, say for instance, the colors aren't right, I can say, okay, yeah, the analogous one is not correct. So you can definitely add like a name to this. So I can easily say this one needs to be revised if it needs to be. Okay, so go ahead and let's go to your color themes. So if you go under window, go under color themes. And we're going to go to my themes. I don't know why this isn't popping up here. Color themes is a nice way to kind of see a color picker and choose, a hue from here if you want to choose a hue, and you can kind of play around with, the different shades of that hue based on the color scheme that you're going to be choosing. You can also, so I want to check out the color themes that's provided. You can also go to color guide. This is under window, color guide. This is the easy way, I believe, that you can create each of these color schemes. So choose a color. Right now, color guide kind of already picks out something already, but choose a main color. This is your main color right here. So your base color. So choose that. You can bring up your swatches so that you can see what color you want to start with. So let's say I want to start with this dark red. I'm going to choose that. And that sets it based on your dark red right here. So now on this drop-down menu, because I want analogous, we're going to select analogous on this drop-down menu. There's two different analogous themes here. You can pick either or. And then once you pick it, your set color is right here in the middle. And it's going to show you your tints, which is adding white, and your shades, which is adding black to that color. And
okay.
It's going to go.
Okay, now when you said tints, I didn't understand you. This makes sense. Just how do I don't understand what that word is down there below. That analogous?
Analogous
yes.
is colors that are next to each other on the color wheel.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So let's pick the main color here. And then we're just going to go ahead and pick all the colors below that or beside it. You can even go lighter if you want.
Oh, okay. So if you had whatever background your main color is, get ones that are close to it.
Yep. So side by side on the color wheel.
Okay.
And this is already showing you what those colors look like, and they're giving you the tints and the shades.
Okay. That now we're cooking.
Okay. So there you go. That's just an easy way to do that. You can even set a background color. So you want
we can go black to be safe, and then obviously transform, arrange it, and send it. Yeah.
Yep. And I just used a shade of that. So that's actually a shade of that, which it's black to me, what it looks like. But you can even, go with this if you want. Okay, so that would be your analogous. That would be your analogous sample. Any questions about that?
No. How would you do the complementary one? Because that's the one that's going to kind of confuse me. Because I understand this one.
That's where I'm going to next. Okay, so go to your artboard.
Please do.
Yeah, go to your artboard, and we're going to copy this. So we're going to just drag and drop right over top of that little icon. So we have a nice copy of this, and all we have to do is change the name and change the color, right? That's nice. So complementary is this one. So
and you just added an extra, all you did was go to your window and add artboard, your artboards and add one. That's all you did?
I just selected the first one, dragged it, and dropped it
down.
down.
Right. I'm just trying to, when you went in the window to go to artboard to get your panel to come up?
Yep, window.
Okay.
Yep.
No, I'm just asking the right questions here. It's like, how'd you do what? Did you hit Command S yet?
I did.
Okay, making sure, because sometimes they do that and they'll go so fast and they'll be like, when did you save that? Because
Yep.
if you know internet as well as I do, any problem you have, you're done. You're like, what happened?
Exactly. Okay, so this one we're going to do complementary. So go ahead and click on that little drop down menu. You're going to choose one of the two complementaries.
How'd you get Harmony Roll to come up?
Color guide is under window. Color
Right,
guide.
I know that part. But how'd you get Harmony to come up? Because it pulled up like, okay, gotcha.
So based on your base color, you can change this base color. You know, say if you want to go with a different color this time, I would go to your swatches. You don't have to use the same color. Let's do blue this time. And then click on this little
Oh,
swatch.
that's pretty. Go back to that blue. That's pretty. When you had all the other ones up there, it was like pretty.
Yeah, and then you can kind of,
Pretty.
you know, use these colors within here. So these are the complementary colors.
But you still have to use your tints and tones.
You can, you don't have to. You can keep it, you know, if you want to keep it without as much tints and tones, you can go with the second option, which has a little bit more solid colors in here. It's the same complementary color scheme. This just has more options
Okay.
hue-wise, so you can go
Yeah,
either.
I may send you one throughout the week, even though it'll be over the holiday. You won't get back to it probably till Friday or something. But I'll be like, yeah, hey, can you peek at this and just yes or no? And I'll be like, okay.
Yep, no problem. And then when you're done with that one, just drag and drop, make another copy, and this will be your last one. So you can pick any color in the color guide, and that's under complementary. Yep, under, so, and let's show you real quick here. So this one would be monochromatic. Monochromatic is what? Just one color, right? So let's say I want to change this next color to green. I would just go to my color guide and go to monochromatic. There's two different options you can either choose, and it's up to you. You could choose one that has more tones in it, but you know obviously select the monochromatic one, and then you can kind of base it off of there. And just pick whichever ones. I mean, these are all pretty much monochromatic, it's just different tints and hues. These are actually all yellow. Let me make these white, just for purposes of getting them contrasted. Does that make sense, you guys? So it should look very similar in style. That shouldn't change style at all. The only thing that you're going to change is the name underneath or wherever you put it so that it goes with the color scheme, and then obviously the color. And then you're going to export this just like you did the other color wheel, save as PDF, and just make sure you take a look at it before you submit it. Okay, give me 1 second here. I'm going to grab something real quick to show you guys. I think I have student examples of this too. Let's see here. You hear me clicking here. One, assessment one. Yes, I have some student examples here. Some of them are better than others, but you can at least get an idea. Okay, here's one student. So you could, you know, be very creative with this. The only problem with this student, they didn't keep the same design, you know. I believe in the instructions it says to keep the same design. Let me see here. Yeah, it says keep the same design. Yep. But that'll kind of give you an idea of what other students have done at least, so you can, you know, you can base it off of what they've done and be inspired by that. Any questions about that?
Mm-hmm. No, because you'll answer everything tomorrow, and I'm just trying to get one of those things done early, and I've already started on my assignment a little bit, but we'll see.
Okay.
That test
But
looks hard.
that's
That test looks hard.
which test?
The one you have on your screen.
The assessment?
Yes.
Oh, okay. If you're, like I said, I'll be here tomorrow, but if you're having any issues or whatever, let me know. I'll be in there tomorrow in the multi-session. All right. That's pretty much all I have for you guys. So we'll wrap it up. I know you guys have lots to do. So you can go ahead and get started, and I'll see you hopefully tomorrow in the multi-session. If not, I'll see you on the discussion boards. Have a great day. Thank you so much.